Hi everyone, a very warm welcome back to MEC-TEC. We're back on little C1 today, and this is a job that I've been waiting to do for absolutely ages, and that is do a full detail on it. We're going to obviously clean it all down. I've got some new tools to use. I've got a new thing to put some snow foam in on the jet washer. I've got a new detail lance to go on the jet washer as well, which is a little short one. So we're going to give this a proper good going over. And obviously then we can machine polish it and get it looking absolutely as best it can possibly be. First job I've got to do though is get it jacked up on axle stands. Now you're thinking to yourself, why have you got to get it jacked up on axle stands if you're cleaning it? Well, I want to clean under the wheel arches, and also I've finally got a decent set of wheels for it, or a new set of wheels for it that will fit hopefully. So that is the plan. I'm going to get it up in the air, we'll get it all jet washed down, snow foamed, do under all the wheel arches, then we can fit the new wheels, get it back on the ground, and then carry on with the detail. So without further ado, let's crack on and get some work done. Right, just thought I'd show you what I've got here. I've had these for ages, but got a nice little detailing brush set there, so we can go around all the badges and all the edges of the windows and things like that, get it all nice and clean. We've got our snow foam kit here, which obviously has got a snow foam bottle in it with a nozzle. It's also got the high pressure lance, so you can just use that small one, and obviously you haven't got to have a big long lance on the pressure washer, which obviously helps you for getting into small spaces under wheel arches, and also you won't clonk the bodywork with the lance, so that's good. And I've got some of this stuff as well, which is the Avalanche snow foam from Auto Finesse, so we'll get to give that a go and see. I've had all this probably for, well, at least since Christmas, but obviously been waiting for me to do the other jobs on the C1 before I use it. So I'm going to get set up, and then we'll get jet washing, see how it comes out, and obviously go from there. Let's carry on. Just thought I'd pause there and show you the half and half difference between the rear wheel arch compared to the half I've done to the half I've not. It shows you all the crud and muck that gets caught up in there over the time. Obviously that will eventually cause your wheel arches to rust, so good job we're cleaning this all out. So I'm going to carry on getting this all cleaned out, and obviously we've got to do all the others. The fronts aren't so bad because they've got a plastic arch liner, but these rear ones proper catch everything, so I need to spend a bit of time getting these proper cleaned out. Now it's all washed down with a jet wash. I'm going to get the snow foam going. Let's see what this goes like. I've not used this before, so it should be interesting. Right, I've gone over this side with a sponge and rinsed it down. As you can see, it's looking very nice and shiny. I think it could be improved further, which it obviously will be with a polish, but that's this side. I didn't want it to get dry, so I've rinsed that side off, and then I've reapplied it on this side. As you can see, I've got the snow foam sort of still running down. I'm just going around all the sort of rubbers and around these windows, making sure that I get all the crud and gunk out. This side's not too bad. The other side had loads of brown gunk in it where it obviously got caught behind the window. Let me do this front one, see if this comes out the same as the before, because this really started to come out like really brown at the bottom. You can see all the stuff that's catching in it. And you can see in there that it's nice and clean there, and then you get still that crud there. So what I'll do is, now that's all at the bottom, I'll blast it out with a jet wash. Get that bit of twig out of there. So yeah, that's basically what I'm doing. I'm going around all the little apertures, all the little cracks and crevices, getting all the gunk out with the brush. Then obviously I'm going over the main panels with a sponge to obviously wash them. Just got my normal turtle wax in a bucket there. Go over all that, jet wash it off, and then we can get it clay mitted after that while it's still wet. Let's carry on. Right, now the car is looking mega shiny. I know it's wet, so it will look mega shiny. We're going to go over it with this, which is a clay mitt. Now you can get clay bars, which I've used in the past, and sometimes I do prefer the clay bars, but unfortunately all mine have gone a bit manky because they're a bit old. So we're going to go with the clay mitt, do it while the car's wet. Then you haven't got to worry about spraying spray detail and stuff like that on. You can do it while it's wet. Just make sure you keep it all obviously as wet as you can. Put this in the bucket and make it wet, doesn't matter. And obviously then that will obviously glide over the paintwork and clean all the contaminants off the surface, ready for us to start polishing. Let's crack on. What do you think of those then? Oh yes. Right, as you would have just seen there, the first of the new wheels is now bolted on. These are my Facebook specials. So they are 195 45 15 tyres. So they're a lower profile. A few of you did suggest that in the comments, so thanks for that. Obviously these have already been fitted to the wheels, and it was actually cheaper to buy a whole set of wheels with tyres for, I think it was 120 quid. So I can't go wrong. Now as you can see, they have got Peugeot centres in them because they were on a 107 before. I've got something to sort that out, which I'll show you in a minute. So I've got the first one, as you just saw. I'm going to give these a clean up. Now they're not perfect. They do need a refurb really if you want them perfect, but for now I just want to get them on the car, make sure they're all right, and there's no rubbing issues or anything like that, and it rides all right, and there's no buckles or anything. And then obviously in the future we can get them refurbed if we want to. Obviously it is a daily driver, so it's not got to be show condition as such, but just looking tidy. So it may be that I go down to the local paint shop and get them to mix me up a can of, or touch up paint pen or whatever, and I can just go around the edges of them just to touch them in, just so they look nice. Or we can go the whole shebang and get them refurbed at some point. So I'm going to give these a clean up like I did with that first one, and then I'll show you what centre caps I've got for them and once we've put them on. Let's carry on. Right, there we go, all nice and clean. Now some of them, or one of them, is in not quite as good condition on the back as the others. They have got a little bit of pickling up around the centre caps where the paint's starting to sort of flake up a bit, but as I say, they're not perfect, but they are very good for the money, I think. So yeah, you can see on the back of this one, I've left this one turned around so you can see the white ring in the middle. They have got spigot rings already fitted into them so that they fit on the car nicely. So there's nothing left to say, but let's get them on and see what it looks like. Right, next job on the little C1 is going to be to start the polishing process. Now we've got it all nice and clean and clay mitted and all the rest of it, we're going to start the polishing. Now I wasn't sure whether to go with compound then polish or whether to just go with polish, but I'm going to try it with compound first, see what sort of results we get. I'm going to put a bit of masking tape around this trim so we don't get it all over it, because the compound has a tendency to send everything white, which obviously is a bit tricky in this wind because it's blowing it everywhere. Obviously it hasn't got to be, as long as the edges are covered, that's the main thing I'm worried about, so I don't want to get all bits of white all over the textured bits, you know. That. Bit more there. Should do the trick, hopefully. So I'll do this one panel sort of live on camera if you like, and then I'll do the rest on a bit of time lapse just so that it speeds things up a bit for you guys. So I'm using a 3M green foam head on there. Could probably do with making it a little bit damp. Let me just go and make this a little bit damp and I'll come back to you. It's a little bit hard at the moment, it's had compound in it before. I've made this pad wet and I'm going to spin it out on a really fast speed on this polisher to get the majority of the water out. So obviously you don't want it to be too wet. You never obviously want to polish at that speed because obviously it will. Now unfortunately it's just started raining, but we can do it panel by panel. Hopefully this is just a little passing shower. Don't want too much on there, put it all over the polisher. So we're on it on a low speed and just sort of going over it just to try and bring the colour out a little bit. Obviously get it to that glossy smooth. I mean it's already glossy smooth anyway, but even better so. Having that tape on there just obviously stops that from getting covered in this compound. Once it's on there, it's very difficult to get it back off again. Add a little bit more compound if you need it, but you won't need too much. And obviously, as I say, we're only going at very low speed, so it obviously reduces the risk of you burning through as well. obviously the more time you spend on it, the better it'll be. Now you've got two choices now. You can either buff that off, or sometimes I go straight over it with the other pad, polish. As you can see, that has bulked that up absolutely lovely. Now that is absolutely glass smooth now. Before it was smooth, but it wasn't totally smooth, if that makes sense. You could still feel a very slight little bit of roughness in it now. Obviously as we go along, this will get better and better. I have got a little bit of white lining paint on this wing, which has been driven through previous to when I got the car. So I'm going to need to get off right on this edge here. I thought it was only on the arch liner, but it's on both. So you can see the shine on it now. It's coming out absolutely lovely. So I'm going to swap the polishing head over now to this blue waffle head. And the waffle part of it is supposed to get rid of any swirl marks, not that there is any. And we're going to be, on that last head we used the 3M Fast Cut Plus, which is quite aggressive, which is why I went pretty slow with it. Now we're going to be using the Finesse It, which is a finishing polish for obviously machine polishing. This is a bit more runny, this stuff, so obviously you don't need to make the pad wet, whereas the other stuff goes quite chalky. So we've obviously got to get a little bit on there. You sometimes need to put a bit more on the head to start with, because obviously it's dry, so you can do this one a little bit faster as well. Make sure you keep it moving so you don't burn through anywhere, and be careful on your edges or any sharp curves. And once again, you can obviously add a little bit more polish if you need to. Doesn't want tons, otherwise you end up spraying it everywhere. Quite a few tar spots on the bottom of this thing where it's sprayed off the wheels. Got quite a lot of them off now. You tend to find that the wax gets a lot more of that off when you wax it. The polish starts to break it down, and then when you wax it and buff it off after, it will come off. Now you look at this shine on this now. That is looking absolutely mega. Of course, if the whole car comes up like that, I'm going to be well happy. As you can probably tell by the camera, it's quite windy out here today, but that's not going to stop us. Look at that. That is like glass now. Really, really good. I'm hoping it might make the bumper match slightly better as well, because obviously it brings the colour out in the wing again. Now this obviously bumper paint was matched to the wing, and they did machine polish it before they matched it, so it should be as close as it can be. As you would have seen from the bumper painting video, if you've seen that, bumpers were off colour to start with anyway, so I was kind of expecting them to be a little bit off colour, but they're pretty close. So I want to go around the rest of the whole car like that now, just taking my time, getting all that polished up, and then once that's done we can go over it with a nice hand wax after I've got the Turtle Wax graphene ceramic wax I'm going to use. I have actually got some Armour Shield 9 ceramic coat I want to try. I haven't used it yet, and I want to get the proper prep spray for it. So for now I'm just going to wax this. Obviously that won't last forever, so after a couple of months or whatever, once the wax has started to wear off a little bit, we may go over this again and do a ceramic coat on it. But I want to carry on like that, go all around it, see how we get on, and obviously I'll come back to you once it's polished. Right, I'm hoping you can see this on camera. You would have just seen on the time lapse there me doing half the bonnet with a tape line down the middle. Obviously I've taken the tape line off now. You can see the difference between the brightness of this red on that reflection now compared to this side. Go over, you'll see what I mean. It's shiny before, but it's mega shiny after. Hopefully you can see the difference. It's quite a marked difference. So yeah, pretty pleased with that. So I'm going to get the other half of this bonnet done, and you can see it there, look, the difference between that and that. It's quite a big difference. It probably doesn't show up on camera as well as it does in real life, but believe me, it is different. So I'm going to get the other half of this bonnet done. I want to carry on around the car doing what I've just done, and then obviously then we can carry on to the next stage. Top banana. Right, next job on the little C1, you will have noticed that I haven't polished the bumpers yet, and that's because I wanted, obviously, took you ages ago, I wanted to flat and polish them to get a little bit of this slight little bit of orange peel off. Now it's got a few chips on this, I've noticed. There's not a lot we can do about that, unfortunately. It's the nature of the beast with the front bumper. So we've got some very fine 2000 grit paper which we're going to use wet, and basically going to go over the whole bumper. Just it will flatten it off, which looks a bit counterintuitive, I know, but it will make it a hell of a lot smoother. That's like really smooth there now compared to what it was like. So I want to go over the whole bumper like this really fine paper, being very careful on the edges to obviously not go too close or too much on the edges, because otherwise you'll rub through. And then once we've done that, I'll get the compound back on it again, we'll polish it back up, and hopefully it should be lovely and shiny and smooth like the rest of the car. Now this area here I've purposely done first, because this area of the bumper was the worst bit. There's a big dry spot there, and I can feel now that that is lovely and smooth. So hopefully that, when I polish that back up, that will come back out absolutely lovely. So I'm going to spend a bit of time doing this, and then as soon as it's done, I'll get the polisher back out on it, get it done, and then we can get a coat of wax on it to get it protected, and then it should be looking absolutely superb. I know this looks a bit brutal on camera, probably it looks a bit brutal in real life, to be honest with you, but it needs to be done. I've left the paintwork for a lot longer than what I really needed to get it to go obviously nice and hard, and hopefully won't have any problems with sort of anything flaking off. You can feel the difference in it when you do it. It really does make a big difference. Obviously you haven't got to go right up to the edges, because the edges don't really show any orange peel because they're only such small areas, but it's just these main flat areas I'm more concerned about. And I know these bumpers aren't bang on the right colour. I'm a bit miffed about that, if I'm honest, but it is a daily runabout at the end of the day, so I can't be too critical on it. You know, it is what it is at the end of the day. It looks a lot better than having lacquer peeling all everywhere, so I think I'm going to have to run with it for now. It does look a lot better in real life than what it does on camera, to be honest with you, because I've looked it back on camera and it looks absolutely horrendous. In real life, the colour isn't actually that bad. So, right, I'm waffling. I'm going to carry on doing this. I'll come back to you once it's done, and we'll get it all polished back up again, and I'll show you the end result. Right, there we go. That is the front bumper, flat and polished. I think you'll agree, hopefully you'll agree, that's a pretty damn good finish out of a spray can. I'm really quite pleased with that. It's got a few chips in it now, unfortunately, where I've been going up and down the motorway, but it is a nice finish. This dry patch here I was particularly concentrating on, and that's completely gone now. So that is absolutely superb. I'm really chuffed with that. It's a lovely shine. So now we've got to do the same on the back. I want to flat the rear bumper down. Get that, there's a run in it actually, I'll show you that. In fact, I'll show you that now. Where is it? There's a run just there. If you'll be able to see that on camera. Hopefully you will. I noticed it after I put it back on. There you go, you can see it there now. It's just about here. So I'm going to flat that out. Same as I did with the rear bumper. I'm going to go over the whole rear bumper the same. Just get that very slight little bit of orange peel that's on it off, not a lot. And we need to sort out these badges because they look ridiculous. I've lost an eye now as well. So I think I'm going to delete the Citroen badge. I'm not sure about the others yet. But yeah. So let's get that rear bumper done. Then we can get a coat of wax on it. Then, well, actually no, we'll do the badges first because I need to polish all the marks off where they've... Hello, you can see me in there. I need to polish those marks off where the badge has been, and obviously it's not been clean around it for a hell of a long time, so I think I'm going to delete that badge. I've still got all the badges, so I'm going to put the V back on, because I like that. And I'll put the C1 back on, or the C back on the C1 I should say. I'll polish around that first though, so that that's got a nice clean area around it as well. Hopefully that should tidy the rear end up for now. Should look rather good. Let's carry on. Right, I just thought I'd grab the camera and show you what you're aiming for as such. You can see this is a nice matte uniform finish. That is what you're aiming for because that is pretty much dead smooth. Now if you look just there where I've not rubbed it enough yet, you can see there's still shiny bits and there's matte bits on top. That is what you're getting rid of, which is the orange peel, the very slight orange peel on the top. So if you look at this section here, from there up to there, you can see I've purposely not rubbed that so you can see the difference. And if you look here, it's totally matte. So if I get my paper, let's try and do this while I'm on camera and show it and rub that. Obviously you don't want to, it's a fine line between going too far and not, because obviously you don't want to rub through the lacquer, because it's only the lacquer that you're taking back, it's not the red. Obviously on this sort of paint, most paints are like that now, a lacquer over base coat. So if I just go over that, this is very fine paper, and because you're using it wet, it does obviously take the abrasion down a little bit. If I wipe that dry now, you'll see that is now completely matte, and that is what you're going for. So when you polish it back up again, you're basically polishing it like a mirror. So yeah, that's what I'm going for. There are a few areas where I've not gone quite as far. You'll see on that edge there, there's a little bit there on the edge. I don't want to go too much on the edges because obviously they can rub through, but on the whole, that's what I'm going for. So I just thought I'd cut in and show you that. I want to get the rest of this bumper done. I won't time lapse it anymore. Once it's polished back up again, I'll come back to you. Right, there we go. That is the rear bumper, flat and polished. It looks a perfect match in this light. It's typical, isn't it? But there we go. So just depends what light you get in, but I am really pleased with the way that's come out. Lovely and smooth, like glass. Not really any orange peel. Show you around here where that run was. You can't even see it where that run was now. If I try and get it in reflection, look, it's disappeared completely. It was about here. It's totally gone. So I'm well chuffed with that. So that's really good. There was a couple of little flattened nibs in there as well, which little bits of dirt that I've got out as well. So yeah, it's come out really nice. So next thing I'm going to do is take that Citroen, rest of that Citroen badge off. I'm going to retape the other V I've got for this and the C for the C1, stick those back on, get that rear screen polished up looking nice again, and then we can get a coat of wax on it. Top banana. Right, now we've got all the waxing done. It's time to get this black trim looking a bit better. Now this stuff is stuff that came from my dear old granddad. I found this in his garage after he passed away, and it is absolutely awesome. Now I've only got a very limited amount of this. Now Rubber Cleanse is still made. I'm going to try and get some of the new stuff. I don't know if it's going to be as good as this stuff, because obviously this has got probably loads of stuff in it that you're not allowed to use anymore. But it really does work. I'll show you. Obviously you've got to be quite sparing of it. It's a clear liquid. It smells lovely. So you get a little bit of that on you. Only a little bit. And this stuff really does bring the black plastic up nice. I don't know what's in it, but it's like, all I can describe it as it's like Back to Black used to be. Simonized Back to Black. That used to be epic, that stuff, years ago, 20 years ago. Now it's useless. Whereas this is more like the stuff from then, you know. So we're going to go over this. We've got to do the back bumper as well. And we're going to do the mirrors and the door handles. And then I think we're pretty much there on the outside. It's looking really, really good. I'm well chuffed with how these bumpers have come out now. I flat polished them. I was happy with them before, but they weren't quite as good as I would have liked, and now they look as good as I would have liked, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna carry on round getting all this black trim done. I don't think it's going to leave it mega glossy. It just makes it black again rather than it being mega shiny, you know. As you can see the difference there. I'm hoping you can see that on camera. Have a look, make sure you can see it. Yeah, you can see the difference between that and that. And obviously against the red, with the dark black being really black, it really makes it sort of stand out and not nice, you know. So I won't bore you with letting you watch me rubbing this stuff to black plastic. I'll just show you after what I've done. You can see exactly what I'm doing. You just put it on and leave it. You don't have to rub it off after or anything like that. You just leave it on there. I think it sort of soaks into the plastic and just rejuvenates it a bit. Obviously you may have to go over it a couple of times. It's been a long time since this bumper moulding's been treated like this, so definitely worth doing, I think. Right, there we go. That is the rear bumper moulding done. Handles are done. Mirrors are done. Got to buff that bit off the window where I got it on the window. Scuttle's done on there, nice and black again. Front moulding is done. And obviously the same on this side. So it's looking absolutely marvellous. That was Mrs. MEC-TEC trying to get in the video, even though she was just driving past. Just so you know, tooting me up then. I've got the tyres foaming, as you can see. So we need to, that's the exterior done now. I need to get on the inside quickly, give it a proper hoover out, because it's not been hoovered since I've owned it, which is really bad for me. I usually hoover it quite often, but I haven't done. And I've got a nice new set of mats to go in it, so let's get those in. Right, as you can see, it's a bit gross in here. Not my usual thing, but it did have a set of mats in it when I got it. But as you can quite clearly see on that one there, they have a Volvo, so they don't fit properly. So we need to obviously get all these mats out. I think there's some in the back as well. Parcel shelf shoved in there, look. It's just been used, this car, quite a lot, as you can probably tell, and I've not had a lot of time to do anything with it until now. So we'll get all these mats out, give it a proper old hoover out. We've got a nice genuine set of C1 mats to go back in again. It should look absolutely superb. Let's crack on before it starts raining again. looks alright, doesn't it? Quite pleased with that. I think it's looking a bit more like my car again now. As my old mate Dan said to me last night when I sent him a photo of it, he said it's got to be mint to be MECs. And I quite like that. That's a good little saying. So as you would have seen, we have done a full detail on it, and as you can probably see, it started raining again while we was over here doing some photos of it, which has happened over the last few days. So it's taken me about 3 or 4 days to do all this because it's been constantly showers not. It's been an absolute nightmare. Anyway, we got all the bits and bobs done. It's looking absolutely mega again now. Unfortunately, the wheel centers I had a bit of an issue with, and I've had to order a new set because the ones that I bought, they were genuine Citroen ones, but the quality of them was absolutely terrible, so I've had to send them back. As soon as I pushed them in, they broke. So I've ordered some new ones of those to go in. You'll see those in a future episode, along with a couple more mods I've got in mind for it. So this isn't the end of the C1. We're going to be carrying on with doing some other bits and bobs to it. I've got a couple of ideas of what we can add on to it. So yeah, I'm pleased with how it looks. Let me know what you think of the wheels. I'm not 100% sure on the colour, whether it goes with the red or not. They look a bit bluey to me, like they're bluey grey. So I'm wondering whether I should go maybe a bronze colour. So let us know what you think in the comments on that side of things, whether you think that the wheels suit it the way they are. Obviously they are going to need a refurb at some point, but for the minute they look absolutely fine. I may just get the colour matched for now and just touch them in around the edges, just so they look a bit better and don't look like they've been running around curbs. Lucy's behind the camera and she just sneezed, so if you heard anything, that's Lucy sneezing. So anyway, that is going to be it for this episode. I can't talk. That is going to be it for this episode on MEC-TEC. If you do like what you see, make sure you hit that subscribe. In fact, there's 4 things: like, subscribe, share, and hit the notification bell. It's all free, it costs you nothing, and it really helps the channel out. If you could do those things for me, that would be absolutely superb. Remember, I have got Instagram, MEC_TEC1985, and I have got Facebook, MEC-TEC, for little sneak peeks during the week of what I'm up to. And all that's left me to say is thank you very much for watching, and if you want to join me soon for more automotive adventures, I'll see you again next time. Cheers guys.